Whitney Houston, the voice, the talent, the power, the smile that graced us all, was a treasure when she was here on this earth. And she was also a chosen one. And chosen ones go through a lot while they're here on this earth. When she was with Bobby Brown, she went through the worst kind of trials in life. She was spat on, slapped, shoved to the wall, ridiculed. The dynamics of their relationships was truly atrocious. Yet Whitney Houston continued to hold on to God. And that's the power of a chosen one, is that it may seem like God is not in their lives. It may seem like he's nowhere in the picture. It may seem like the person has gone off the rails and is not serving the Lord any longer. But it can be the farthest thing from the truth. Most chosen ones, they've been built to deal with a lot of hardships in life, and they often are faced with a lot of hardships in life, but they're on an assignment. Their life is meant to help others who are going through difficult trials to get through these difficult trials. Their life is meant to be a blueprint for how you can go through so many setbacks, go through so many heartaches, go through so much pain, have it all, gain the world, gain the fame, have the money, and yet lose it all but still hold on to your faith. A lot of people can't do that. Once they go through some trials in life, God is nowhere on their radar. They're often doing and on their own and living their own life as an atheist. But a chosen one, that's almost like not even in the script for a chosen one. Their lives are constantly about living for the Lord. Whether they're reading the Bible every single day, they're acknowledging God every single day. Through prayer, through worship, through just how they conduct their lives. When it came down to the final days of Whitney's life, she made sure that she went back to her gospel roots and sung songs, made her final album an inspirational album, an album of loving yourself and being your best, living your best life, being your best person. Whitney Houston, she was sold out by the industry. The industry used her up and just tossed her to the side. And her death was truly like a conspiracy. We all knew that Whitney did not just naturally drown in that tub. We knew that there was more to the story than what was told to us. And it was like she was sacrificed. And after she was sacrificed in her tub, the party went on. Clive David just went on with the party as if to celebrate her passing. And then they instantly had someone to take her place, or to so-called take her place. You could never really take a chosen one's place, because no one, no matter how much they seem similar to the chosen one, or they seem like they got talents like the chosen one, they don't have the light like the chosen one has the light. And the person that they tried to have come in and take her place, Jennifer Hudson may have had a strong voice, but she did not have the light the way that Whitney Houston had. She did not come with the powerful presence that a chosen one has, because they have the Holy Spirit dwelling in them. And so Jennifer Hudson, she ended up sacrificing several members of her own family, allegedly, but we all know the truth, just to be on the plateau of Whitney Houston. But yet her voice, her songs didn't resonate the way that the voice of Whitney Houston and the songs of Whitney Houston resonated. So when Whitney Houston passed on, I was devastated. My heart was crushed. I instantly was crying out in my spirit, where did her soul go? What happened to her soul? And so as when the arrangements for the funeral came up, I then took the day off from work, and all that night I could hardly sleep. And that morning, just before waking up, I had this dream where I was out in the galaxy. I was out somewhere in the universe. I was in outer space. I was no longer on Earth, and I saw these big white mushroom clouds. And these muscular white horses with horns on their head came running and galloping towards me. And as they came towards me, then they turned and went into this huge circle. As they completed the circle and came around, then I saw where they leaped up their front legs and started kicking up in the air. And as they came down, they ran off to the right. But then the lead horse went off to the left and stood still and lifted up his front legs and tilted his back all the way back to the point where I thought his back was going to break and he was going to fall over. But he didn't. And he kicked his legs high into the air. And when he came down, he gave off this thunderous roar and then started galloping off and caught up with the others. And as this happened, in my spirit, I heard, she made it. Whitney Houston made it. And I looked to my right, and I could see these pearly gates up in the clouds. And I could hear all this thunderous celebration, this thunderous clapping and cheering and roaring for Whitney Houston. And I knew she had made it into heaven. And so I've heard people say, oh, well, they seen her in hell suffering. I don't know who's giving them this dream. I know that I serve the one true God. I know what I go through on this earth, and it's not easy to stay in faith. But I stay in faith because that's what I was designed to do. I mean, I have my moments. So when I heard the Spirit speaking to me and say, Whitney Houston made it, I knew it was saying she made it into heaven. And I saw these pearly gates on the clouds and heard all of this celebration and all of this roar and clapping and happy cheers. And I knew that she was in peace. So after all the pain she went through on earth, after the betrayal, after the hard marriage, after the hardships with her family, she was received into heaven. So, and then her funeral was so beautiful. It was like everyone kept saying, oh, she took us to church. She took us to church. And everyone was so respectful. No one had any egos. Everyone just took their time to say their condolences. And it was lovely, beautiful, no drama. Everything was positive and everyone was positive. And the whole feeling was like you had this church ceremony. And so that in itself just confirmed it, that she was received into heaven and she made it. So I'm glad to share this with you, and you all be blessed.